I'm Ryan McKean,
And I'm Brittany Green.
and welcome to this episode something of the way.
Happy to be back.
Welcome to The Way, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of legal business and marketing. Each week, we'll be discussing the latest trends, strategies, and insights that are shaping the legal industry. So whether you're a lawyer, marketer, or business owner in the legal industry, this podcast is for you.
We're back in the swing a little bit.
We are back in the swing. It has been 2 episodes in 2 weeks, and I'm really excited about this one because we did a longer than usual sort of pre-show planning. Usually we just riff and go for it, but this one I think is a really interesting topic. We try to get very practical, and I think we're going to get a little theoretical and maybe tie it back into the practical. But today we want to talk about AI influencers, right? And at the end of May 2025, Google releases VEO3, which is just this ability to create 8-second videos from very simple prompts. The videos are very, very good. It takes 3 to 5 minutes. It is obviously not going to replace a marketing department or videographer or anything like that today. But this technology is moving incredibly fast. It's very easy to imagine that in a year, it's going to be twice as good as it is today. So we have massive sort of technological change happening, which creates disruption, which creates opportunity. And this episode was really brought on by a Gary V reel where he was talking about how the future of all of this and social media marketing is AI influencers.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, part of the reason we were riffing so much before the episode for this one was we have certain, well, me especially, have very certain like moral feelings and stances on everything that's been coming at us and changing. And I have this very like hard confliction that I've been dealing with. I like a lot of the technology and the change and the things that can eventually break down some barriers of entry from marketing and like access to justice of it all. And then, of course, there's these other parts of me that are just concerned with where they could go on a more ethical standpoint.
So let's get into it. Let's get into all of it.
Yeah.
Let's unpack it all and sort of deal with it. So we sit here in 2025 and we are in a studio. We have microphones and lights and headphones, and this is going to be put out to a video editor who's going to chop it up, get rid of some of my ums and uhs, and put it out to you where you will listen to it and hopefully enjoy it, right? So it is a whole thing. It is a lot of money. It is a lot of effort. Our camera is not inexpensive. Our microphones are not. We're using a full office, which used to house lawyers in here. Actually, at one point, Brittany, we had 3 people in this office.
We did, yes.
So now it's 2 chairs, our bookshelf, some lights, and some soundproofing things that are in this office. My overall point here is that video production has always been very expensive,
Absolutely.
very time consuming. I mean, when we were at Connecticut Trial Firm, we paid thousands of dollars a month to have a videographer come in and film. And yeah, there are cell phone videos that we did, but for doing something a little bit better, it cost a lot of money and took time. And it took professional guidance. It took editing. It took software that we didn't have to do it. And also, like, towards the end, we were getting into the influencer space. We hired Amari DeBerry, who was a UConn women's basketball player who just graduated from University of Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
So go Amari. We hired her to do an NIL deal to help promote the firm on TV. But that was a whole thing too. We had to talk to her people, work through NBC, work through legal, work through UConn to figure out what it is that we could do. We had to pay her. I'm all for paying Amari. She was fantastic. But again, this massive thing. And you can imagine at different levels, it's even harder. Even if you're just doing like in-house videos, like lawyers need, the lighting needs to be right. They need to be mic'd. There needs to be prompts.
It's a lot. And just, it's just the time consumption of doing that all is also a lawyer's time is money, right? I mean, there are so many great aspects, I think, of what the prospect of being able to produce videos that are far less expensive is going to be a huge and exciting change for a lot of these law firms that don't have that kind of budget, don't have that kind of time, but it deserve to be able to be in that space.
The other thing is like we were doing what I would call a lot of boring ass videos, like informative videos, educational videos, value added videos. But in the PI space right now, I'm seeing people like Top Dog do immensely creative videos.
Right.
Attention grabbing, like legit small production videos for TikTok and Reels and social media and LinkedIn that are a whole nother level of budget, right? Like this goes beyond your local film person. I mean, there are writers on these things. Like there is a lot of energy because they are so well done. They are trying to figure out what the algorithm is doing. All of my kids' videos, like my kids don't watch TV. They watch YouTube.
Oh, yeah. YouTube and TikTok all day long. Yep.
They don't have TikTok.
They don't do TikTok.
We don't give them.
Okay.
We don't give them TikTok.
Because it'll replace YouTube, I'm sure, for them.
But it's all, the biggest celebrities today are not primetime shows for these kids. It is YouTubers.
Right.
All the time. And these videos are fast moving. They're incredibly well produced. There's a rhythm to them. They love this, but again, a high barrier. So if you're a Morgan and Morgan of the world in the PI space, like you have the ad budget, you have the creatives, you have access to this, but even still, it's a whole thing, right? Like in Morgan and Morgan gets various celebrity sponsorships, various branding opportunities. But where I'm sort of going with this is, should firms be now developing AI avatars? Like you could imagine sort of not an ideal, but a lawyer who's able to explain things. I mean, the law firm's going to write the script, but it's going to be an AI face. And we saw the Arizona Supreme Court now using AI reporters to explain decisions.
Yeah.
Should firms be really out there branding it? And my thinking is, like, if I were running a firm right now, I guess I kind of do run a firm, but if I was actually running a firm
for growth,
I would definitely be trying to push the envelope on an AI. Gary Vee talks about this as sort of like a character, but an avatar that gets out there, that is known in the community. Like I would focus it hyper local. I would focus it informative, entertaining, engaging, and I would be trying to build up that avatar's profile because it is so easy to promote and create and generate content that human beings just cannot do.
Yeah, well, and I think too, I mean, because we talk about this a lot anyways, right? Where a struggle for law firm owners and law firms is, should I be the face of my brand? For all the many reasons we talk about that. Most people, of course, still in 2025, their law firm's name is their last name, usually. And even that, right, we're starting to veer away from more and more. I think people are starting to realize that you shouldn't just have to feel limited to your name, because again, then this creates that sort of feeling that you're stuck with, okay, well, when someone calls me to work with me, they want me for my last name and my face and who I am as the lawyer. But again, we're talking about these firms that want to see growth and they want someone to come to their firm and be able to work with whoever's in it. Being able to maybe just have a completely unique avatar as the face of the brand, the mascot almost, of the brand, can make it easier. It can potentially, set you up for easier to maybe sell your brand in the future, or, have people acquire it, because it's not necessarily just your name and face as the law firm owner that's valuable. It's what you've created outside of that.
And look, Brittany, we have been to plenty of conferences in the PI space. I love you all, but you are not the best looking bunch.
Well, right.
Okay. And no, like I said, self-included, or the most charismatic bunch.
Exactly.
Or like a host of things. Like some of you have a little bit more Riz than others. But like if you're a lawyer Riz like 8 or 9, you're a real life Riz like 3 to 4. Okay. Yeah. Just bear with me. Prettier people do better on video.
Yes.
The algorithm, like all of this, you now have access to the ability to create pretty people.
Yeah.
And people also like people like them, right? And so if you're doing these avatars, like you can run meta ads. I mean, they don't let you run meta ads based on race. They will let you run them on zip code, which is essentially the same thing.
We all know there's a lot of racism in zip codes.
Yes, you can tell almost everything you need to know demographically about a person based upon their zip code. But you can't run based on race, but you can run based on language, right? So
Yeah.
you can imagine like you have a Spanish avatar that is speaking to the Spanish community. Spanish women, Spanish men. You can start breaking these things down and reaching people where they are on their phones in ways that you would never, ever be able to do. We overdubbed some of our videos in Spanish, and it's okay. Like it's passable. It's like, "Hola, soy abogado McKean."
Yeah. They're clearly dubbed, right?
They're clearly dubbed, but you can imagine videos that are not dubbed, that are spoken natively by people who look like people in the community. Boy, does that open up channels.
It does. And then we talked about, before we sat down today, does that lead into, though, the question of, the number one thing, right, about lawyers and law firms and hiring a law firm is you want to be able to trust your lawyer. And so does doing these sorts of videos build the same trust or feel this as authentic? We talked about that, and we had some thoughts.
It's a really complicated issue.
Yeah.
On one level, our belief is that people want answers, not
Exactly.
people. They want help. They have a problem. Like if you have a medical problem, like your tooth hurts, you don't care who the dentist is. You really just want your tooth to stop hurting.
Right.
And almost all legal problems are analogous to that. And yes, you may believe that this dentist is better than some other dentist, and that could influence your decision. But you know what? If your tooth hurts bad enough, any dentist that can fix the problem is going to be the dentist you're first going to hire. Like just the way it is, set your ego aside. And you're seeing AI deployed most successfully in customer service. Right?
Yes.
So you can imagine AI-based intake, AI-based case managers that are communicating, like the Honas and case statuses of the world today are web portals. Like that is sort of like Web 3.0, and Web 4.0 is like a personal assistant who guides you, and that is video, that is conversational, that is, hey, I have an update for you on your phone or glasses or wherever you are, hologram. I don't know where this is all heading. But like that is where it is going, right? If we're going to say in the age of AI that like trust is a commodity, like trust is what may be valuable, judgment is what may be valuable. If they're seeing somebody who is an AI avatar and maybe they know it, maybe they not, maybe they don't, but does that diminish trust?
Right.
I don't know. Or does it enhance it because it's just more known?
Exactly. I was going back and forth with this myself. I've even before we talked about it today, like as the topic of discussion today, I've been morally going back and forth with myself a lot about everything AI, with environmental impacts to a lot of AI is being, trained off of stolen art, right? And creators not being compensated for the art that these models are learning off of. I struggle immensely with some of these things right now. Does that mean I don't ever use AI? Absolutely not. Like I certainly also understand the relevance of it and being able to have these barriers to entry that are much lower now for all these possibilities. So it's been hard to decide where we're headed with all of it and where everyone's minds and thinking and attitudes on it are going to continue to go.
Yeah, because it is quite possible that I'm a history major. So like what's happened to me is usually indicative of what will happen or predictive.
Sure.
There's some predictive value, right? And two things. One is like, even in the age of Kindle and everything else, there are more hard books or more softcover books being sold today than ever before. We've talked about vinyl. That is a huge, huge thing. People are buying vinyl records in sort of a backlash to the digital thing. And look, I know there are audiophiles who tell me vinyl sounds better, but oh my gosh, like the digital downloads of high fidelity, it's pretty freaking good.
Yeah, no, I just like vinyls for the aesthetic, honestly, more than anything. Overall, I'm still only I listen to Spotify far more than I'm listening to my vinyls. But yeah, I almost buy my vinyls now, buy my hardcover books as that almost sort of protest, I guess, of supporting art in these traditional ways.
And there's also a sense you buy the vinyl because they can't get taken from you.
Exactly.
And there are albums that get pulled off of streaming.
Your Kindle. When you buy a Kindle book,
yes,
there's in the fine print it says at any moment Amazon could rip that thing back from you. Like, and yeah, again, all of that goes back to me and my morals of appreciating art and the artist. I get it that the artists out here, I mean, hey, obviously we know I'm a Swiftie and, Taylor's a billionaire and morally not a fan of billionaires. I get that. But I also love a lot of indie artists that I listen to on Spotify and things like that. So when I can try to support these smaller artists too in ways that I know are better for their bank accounts, because without these art in the world, it's a little more of a bleak place. So yeah, trying to figure out that balance, I think. I think that's where it is. It's the balance of it all, right?
Yeah, it is. I think, though, I look back, growing up, one of the biggest television advertisers in the market, like when I was in elementary school, middle school, one of the first PI firms to advertise on TV, a law firm called Marquis Salomon. If you're from the area, you'll know it. But Marquis Salomon was never in his commercials. Yeah. They hired an actor.
Right.
That went on for like 25 years.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. And nobody cared.
No. And you know what? That goes back to, too, just the psychology of ads in general, too. Like, it's very rare, I feel like, that people, remember the people in it. But what's like hooks are the, the jingles and the creative sound. I think sound is so much more memorable than video anyways, or visuals. That sort of speaks to, will it matter if it's an avatar speaking it or a real person?
The Salomon is an actor from some TV show. My mom would know. But the actor's from like a 70s or 80s TV show. And he's playing the part of a lawyer.
Sure.
And so if Marquis Salomon was to walk down the road, nobody would know who he is. If this actor was to walk down the road, everybody would say, that's Marquis Salomon.
Yeah.
Right? And it mattered not to his clients.
No.
Incredibly successful in terms of getting out there. And sort of a pioneer in this way, realized like, hey, I don't need to be the guy who's on TV. I don't know. Maybe he's great looking. Maybe he's not great looking. Maybe he's slick. Maybe not. I don't know. But he decided the most effective way to connect with the audience was to hire a professional actor. No shame in that game. None. In fact, a lot of law firms, a friend was asking me, do I think personal injury lawyers get into it to be famous? And we know some people who are
I was gonna say
mass marketers.
Yeah.
And my response to it was, no, they get into it to make money.
Right.
The fame it comes with its perks.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Do I think there's a small subset of people, right? The people that really do love seeing themselves on a billboard and getting recognized. For sure. But yeah, I mean, I think by and large, it's not that.
If you told them one of two things had to go away, the fame or the money,
right?
They're going to say the fame.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think they get more into it for the fame. And these are extreme outliers. These are people who, we have been at conferences and they have taken people on tours to go see their billboards. I'm not kidding for those of you out there. Yeah. Like, this is a thing. They watch their own commercials. Like, there's no shortage of it. But at the end of the day, like, it's about money. And those are extreme outliers. Those are people who are willing to put themselves out there. The vast majority of lawyers do not want to be on a billboard. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be on TV. They want to be doing the work. They want to be behind the scenes.
Well, because for them, marketing is like a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Like if they could just not have to market and just like people would come so they could help them, they would do that 100%.
They don't want to film the TikToks.
No.
They want to do their work. They're busy. They want to make money. They have all the things, but it's not the driving force behind it. I think you're morally conflicted, and I think that probably makes you a better person than me, which is fine. Yeah. Which is fine. I think it is a tremendous opportunity. I think Gary Vee is right, which, I mean, that's not saying much. He is ahead of things in a lot of ways, right? I remember listening to him in like 2013, and he was talking about Musical.ly, and I was like, oh. And so I grabbed like the handle injury lawyer. Mm-hmm. I could have grabbed a dozen handles. I don't even know if it matters. It becomes TikTok. But I think there are going to be firms in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years that dominate their markets based upon combinations of AI avatars and social media spends.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, this is why I'm conflicted, because I think being able to access this sort of technology is amazing for these firms that are just as great as these million and billion dollar firms, and who just have more money to spend on these fancy creative teams and everything. So I love it for that reason, that there is going to be that shift, I think, to like exactly what you just said. Because now, right, when I talk to firms and talk to them about their marketing, like, it's more often than not I'm saying, just take the iPhone video. Like, people don't need this full scale production. People want something that feels more raw and edited and real. So we talked about this too, right before we sat down, where I'm probably maybe just not the ideal client possibly for what that full scale is going to turn into, this whole trend that we'll probably see of these AI videos and ads and whatever, AI influencers, because I absorb all the content that AI is destroying the environment, and AI is again stealing from creatives and all that sort of stuff. So I typically, when I see something that's so wholly AI, I'm averse to it. But again, I'm a very small subset of people in this world, right, that happen to care about that. But I will say, like, at the same time, I think if I saw a well done with a well-intentioned message behind it of something that's still AI, I'm not going to wholly write it off. I think depending on where it's coming from, who it's supposed to be speaking to, and the message behind it, I'm not completely like, well, they're bad people because they used AI, because then I'd be a hypocrite, right? Because it's, again, as I said, I have used AI. I feel bad every time that I'm pouring a water bottle out, that I ask, ChatGPT a question. I have not made the switch to making that my like default search engine or things like that for all these reasons too. But I would be a hypocrite if I said AI is bad and I will never ever use it.
See, and look, marketers can profile your demographic. Like,
right.
Meta and TikTok, they know you.
Exactly.
Probably better than you know you.
Right.
Imagine a world where I say, or the algorithm says, okay, we're going to market to Brittany. And we're going to do it with, I don't know, a woman with no makeup on who has bees and this and that. And we're going to talk about how we're tech forward and we care about the environment. Mm-hmm. And so we are committed to planting a tree for every single AI video we create. And we have 1,000 trees that have been planted and blah, 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 blah. Right. Like, that is the kind of messaging that can become like so micro-targeted and persuasive, because I come from trial law background and spending a lot of time diving into the neuroscience. Like, our brain, even though we know it logically, does not process like television different from reality. Like, we just, on our prefrontal cortex, like, we know that this is not real, but the majority of our brain is like, I was at the game. We're just not wired for all of the things that we had. And so I think if these things are good enough, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, like I said, it'll be very interesting as years down the road as it continues to improve and get smarter. I mean, I'm sure I've been duped by AI at some point here that I just didn't realize like it was AI, and I think I'm pretty decent at still spotting it at the moment, but it's
only going to get better.
No, exactly.
And 40% of all customer service interactions are driven by AI.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Also, I will say I am that one person that almost any chatbot thing that I interact with, immediately I say representative. And I know that sometimes they even still then give you something AI related. Yeah. And I like to think I like really browbeat that thing until I like find a real person. But who, again, these are the things where I'm like, I'm sure I've been duped by AI in a chatbot at some point.
As it gets better, you'll care less. And it's only going to get better.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. If I get an answer that I want, like that goes back to our original point, I think, right? Where we had talked about, we want to create so much content that ultimately is just about providing answers. So yes, if AI can give me a straightforward answer to the exact question I need, great. Then I don't care. I don't need a real person to have told me that. So and I think that goes back to where the good possibilities are for law firms out there.
And we've talked before on this, and we think a lot about it, which are sort of like the macro trends, right? Mm-hmm. Harvard Business Review reports that the number one usage of AI is for therapy and companionship in 2025.
Yeah, this one, okay, I'm like afraid to say to say this one. Clearly, people at this point know I'm a raging liberal, clearly with my views. Well, one, I'd love to know deeper data point on that, which is the breakdown of men versus women. I don't want to put assumptions on there at all, but
The article does not break it down.
Yeah. I would just be interested to know. I mean, let's be real. This is obviously a big topic, I think, in discussion in a lot of the world with the idea of this male loneliness epidemic. And these are the things that also concern me about some of the rise of AI and things like this. We're right. We're seeing stats like this where people are going to AI and technology to fulfill this need of companionship. And that saddens me, I guess. Again, maybe this is just me being like a silly, empathetic liberal, that it saddens me that there's this whole rise of male loneliness epidemic. And then we're seeing stats that everyone's going to fake people online for companionship. And yeah, it makes me sad to think about the future. You know, how is that going to continue? These are scary, sad thoughts to me.
Well, and understandably, I think we're going to bring it back to where we are with legal marketing, because we are not here to talk about, we're not going to know about robots taking over civilization and environmental, like we
can't predict all of that.
We're more like, hey, buy stickers for your law firm and mail them to people kind of people. But I think it gets to sort of a really interesting thing, which is Mark Zuckerberg says, 7 out of 10 friends on Facebook, on Meta, this is their business plan, are going to be AI bots.
Yeah, I guess, again, not the target audience for that. Well, I don't talk to anybody online except for my best friends anyways, honestly.
I hear you. This is not like a lot of things, but this is like the stream that people are, like that law firms who are looking to acquire clients are going to be dealing with for the first time in human history. It's not just your competitors running ads. It is literal influencers who are on social media platforms, who are interacting with people, who are learning their secrets. And like, it's not for good reasons. It is so that they can be marketed to.
Right.
Meta is a marketing company so that they can be sold, so that their friends can say, hey, recommend the green law firm if you're in a car accident. Like, this is where this is going. How soon, the reasons for it, the consequences. Our friend Guy always talks about, do what the bots cannot.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about is the bots providing community, the bots providing answers, the bots doing videos, the bots doing brand. It is a profound societal shift.
It is.
It is profound. But larger question things aside, I think there are going to be winners in this. And as always, the winners in social media are first movers. The easiest time to have built a huge following on Instagram was the day Instagram came out. It is, very hard to take a profile now from a little reach to a lot of reach very quickly. The same is true with YouTube. And I think like that will hold true even as the algorithm promotes like very specific content to specific users. Like the first movers in this space are going to do it. And I think you're going to see some amazing creative, cinematic creative, funny storytelling, great storytelling. It's going to make the PI commercials look absolutely cheesy, even cheesier than they are right now. I think it is something that law firm marketing directors, lawyers who are looking to market their firms, people who are even starting firms should be paying attention to.
No, I agree. Plus with everything, right, with marketing, as we always say, you got to test it out. Just test it. Test.
You have to test it out. The thing I love about marketing, as opposed to law, I'm a lawyer, business person, right? In law, things don't really change that much.
Right, yeah.
The legislature passes a new statute, you figure out what that is. The court procedures maybe change a little bit, but by and large, handling a car accident case from a legal perspective is the same today as it was 20 years ago.
Sure.
And the judges have changed. There's some procedures that have changed. Some case law has changed. But it's sort of glacial.
Yeah.
Okay. Marketing is a forever moving target that does not take place in a vacuum. Law does take place in a vacuum. Like it happens in very significant guardrails, very slowly as it needs to. But with marketing, like it's so useful to pay attention to massive, bigger trends that are out there, trying to see what the convergence of those things are and how it impacts you. And wrestle with it. And then the question is, I think it gets back to me for stickers. Like I think it gets back to, at the end of it, Kane Elliott from Filevine saying like a phone call is going to be more valuable.
Exactly.
Which gets to your point. It's not going to go away, but I think from a marketing perspective, it's going to dominate.
Yeah, because that's exactly right. Because there are clearly the people like me. And then maybe, again, as it becomes more prominent of going to these online AI things for answers and companionship at first, slowly but surely it might make its way into the general population where it is even, I bet you it'll be subconsciously, people maybe not even recognize it, that it's happening to them, that when they do finally have a time where they go back on the phone and talk to someone, they may not identify it as a feeling, but subconsciously they're gonna think, yeah, this is so much more valuable because I've only dealt with the AI. So I think, yeah, Kane Elliott's correct. I think going back to Guy and Conrad, like, do what the bots cannot, like, all of that is going to continue to just keep being valuable, and even more so as we see the rise in this, which is, yes, I think equally valuable. I think there is a need for it and a purpose to it, and it'll just keep getting better. Hopefully, maybe morally and ethically, it can get better. I mean, I look forward to that. Maybe if they can find a way to make that better too. Who knows?
You have more faith in the tech pros than I do.
I'm just saying that as an optimistic. I don't actually have the faith there, but I'm trying to let people who are similar to me not feel as bad that they're adopting these things as well. Yeah, who knows? I mean, everything's constantly changing there. Ultimately, it'll hopefully also, like you said, make these wholly human things just as valuable.
And I think it gets back to sort of the vinyl thing. Like, in a world of digital, like, you're going to have to, look, if you're Taylor Swift or you're Pearl Jam, like, you have to play in the digital world. Like, you have to.
Right.
You have to stream, you have to be on platforms, you have to be on YouTube, you have to be on social media. Your tickets have to be digital. Did Taylor do this? Like, did she do commemorative tickets that you could actually buy?
No.
See, Pearl Jam
and you know why? So I don't know about, but like, I wouldn't say this part is why. But I mean, of course, with the whole like Ticketmaster fiasco of the Eras Tour, everyone was just sort of like, well, she's a billionaire. Why didn't she just, sell her own tickets kind of thing? Because there are, artists that just sell independently outside of, but she has, from what I've read, obviously, that she has a contract like with Ticketmaster.
Well,
you know what I mean?
All
And
the
so
venues,
you know what I mean? So it was like she couldn't not do that sort of stuff. So anyways, I don't know necessarily about the commemorative.
Because with Pearl Jam, like, you buy a ticket,
and
then it's like, do you want a commemorative ticket, which is essentially a printed ticket?
Sure.
You pay $10 for.
Okay, yeah,
So,
I didn't see that. I'm sure knowing, of course, the hate that she gets specifically, if she were to have done that, people would be like, oh, she's just another cash grab from the billionaire.
But people.
But I would have, you know why? Because,
well,
for many reasons. Like, I do have all my little like paraphernalia from the concerts, all that stuff. I would definitely have done that, because instead, what I have right now, which feels so silly, but it is what it is. I just obviously had my Apple Wallet ticket.
Yeah.
I haven't deleted it from my Apple Wallet because I'm like, it's my only commemoration of like the ticket.
Well, right. And eventually, like, Apple will just yank it.
Exactly.
Like, you're going to log in and you're like, what?
It's just going to be gone. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is an aside, but like on eBay, like in the sports collectibles market, tickets are very collectible. Like ticket stubs from 1986 NBA playoffs, like very collectible. That sort of like analog thing is still relevant, and I think will be for quite some time. Yeah,
because I mean the whole like nostalgia is such a like trend that keeps obviously cyclically coming around.
You want to hold on to it.
Yeah,
you don't want Apple just to take it from you. Like, it is something that connects you to the time, the space, and the event. And we all have those things in our life, these possessions that we assign meaning to in different ways. So you're going to have to play in this world eventually, or somebody's going to play in this world and dominate. You're also going to have to, I think, do it seems like with all of this, and like, with SEO and now with AI search, it doesn't make the game easier. It just gives another thing to do. Yeah. Right. So now it's like, do actual videos of you, do informal videos of your iPhone.
Here's another marketing source we have to track.
do AI avatars. Like it just adds. It really does add to it in a lot of ways, I think. But also, my friend Craig Goldenfarb, I saw him. He bought like a Sprinter van, turned it into an ice cream truck, and he shows up at local charitable events and gives out ice cream. That's awesome. If you're like a charity and you're like, hey, I'm having I don't know, whatever charities do, a concert in the park. Yeah. He'll show up with his thing and give away free ice cream. That is super smart. That is analog in a digital world. And yeah, it's one more thing, right? Like before you just had to worry about videos, and now you've got a freaking ice cream truck. But that's an opportunity for another day. I do think the big trend, though, is that what we're really talking about with AI, and it's going to happen in legal production, is execution gets democratized. Like the ability to actually execute, the barriers to execution are going to be lower, and you're going to see more and more and more. So you can either get buried by it, you can ride it, and you've got to sort of navigate that as you do your marketing, which brings us to, I think we can close out here. I think we've gone through.
I've gone through the whole moral dilemma today, so I think we've spent it.
we discussed it. Yeah. What is it that you are consuming?
So in case I haven't mentioned Taylor enough in this episode, I found this cool book at hardcover book, physical book. It's really pretty too. Of course, I bought it because the cover was pretty. But no, it's called Taylor Swift by the Book, and it's two women that wrote it. One's a college university English professor, and so she breaks down like all of the literary references and different literary tools that Taylor uses in like her lyrics all throughout all of her work. And it's been really cool because obviously I do love Taylor because of her lyrical stamina, if you will, and how deep many of her lyrics get that, the people that just assume she's a pop star, that it's shallow. And I listen to the songs and pick up the Shakespeare references or Jane Austen references and things like that. So I've been loving it. It's really cool.
Awesome.
How about you?
I am basic, and Pearl Jam does concerts, and they go to cities, and they generally now play like 2 nights.
Yeah.
And like their fan base, they sell out, but most people go 2 nights. I went to Pearl Jam in Atlanta with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law got a ticket and went to night 2 as well. Mm-hmm. They played over the course of 2 nights like 39 different songs. Mm-hmm. So there were like 6 or 7 songs on repeat. So I got the second album of that. I downloaded that, and I get like the full 45 song sort of experience, and I'm able to enjoy a concert that I didn't go to in that way.
Cool.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Till next time.
See you then.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of The Way with Best Era. Be sure to visit our website, bestera.io. From there, get more resources, insights, and to connect with us directly. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. That way you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep striving for your version of success.